Our story today begins in a desolate place, very different from our world, inhabited only by ancient tribes and wild, predatory animals. Because of this, the situation is extremely dangerous, and life there is anything but easy. We learn that life was completely destroyed by a mysterious virus that appeared suddenly and killed almost the entire world's population. Now, only a very small number remain, and they have reverted to a primitive way of life after all progress and technology disappeared. Every day presents a new challenge for them to protect themselves from death and continue their lives. They have also formed different tribes, each fighting the other, trying to prevail by any means necessary. Survival is always for the strongest. We meet the leader of one of these tribes, named Yuri, and his son, Saba, one of the best hunters in the entire region, known for his strength and courage and his ability to face any danger, no matter what. One day, Saba goes out in search of his next prey and stops. He watches her from afar, and suddenly Yuri arrives and stands in front of him, arguing with him because he isn't abiding by the area's laws and insists on hunting in a forbidden place outside their borders. In response, Saba tries to defend himself, saying that he understands all the laws very well, but now he can't abide by anything after seeing his tribe in this state, eating grass for weeks and all dying of starvation. He has to act quickly. After a long discussion, Yuri is certain that his son is strong and capable, so he finally agrees and allows him to go hunting in that place. He takes his equipment, bids his father farewell, and goes straight on his way without any thought or fear. Of course, he takes his group, who are also his friends, with him. Suddenly, while they are on the road, they hear someone approaching them, so they quickly hide. They begin to carefully observe the road, and Yuri senses they are in danger. They plead with him to turn back, but Saba insists on continuing and refuses to listen to his father. He then heads toward the sound, and suddenly a very large bear appears before him. A great battle ensues between him and the bear, and strangely, he defeats it alone without any help from those around him. He bravely hunts his prey and proves, as usual, that he is indeed worthy of their trust. Of course, they are all overjoyed because they know very well that this bear will feed them all, and the tribe will be satiated and can live for several days reassured that they have food. They begin to gather in one place to celebrate, and at the moment when they are dancing and laughing, a man appears before them, injured, with his hand horribly eaten away. He keeps screaming and telling them that demons are chasing him and that they are the ones who did this to him. Unfortunately, the man also transforms and prepares to attack them and eat their flesh. They are eventually forced to kill him because there is no cure for this disease. Saba opposes this decision, not wanting to harm the man. When Saba stands in his way, Yuri orders his companions to restrain him by force, as he doesn't understand the danger of what he wants to do. Yuri insists on finishing off the man himself and making sure he is truly dead before they leave and return to the tribe with their prey. Everyone is overjoyed by this news and immediately packs their belongings and sets off, as they need to change their living area periodically for greater safety. When they reach a certain point, they realize they are in serious trouble. All the tribal leaders gather and begin to talk to Yuri, trying to decide how to proceed since they cannot travel any further and have nowhere else to go. The area they are in now is not safe at all, and their lives will be in danger all the time. They think that outside this area there are definitely other tribes that might go to war with them because everyone is trying to protect their territory, and then they will enter into a war that has no purpose and will expose the lives of the entire tribe to greater danger. They are all confused about how to act, and none of them has any alternative plan in case of any attack on them. As soon as Yuri leaves them, they talk to Saba and tell him that his father is very stubborn and that he is always convinced that there is another world outside and that there are people who have a cure for this virus and can save them from the strange life they are living. He has never been able to give up on his dream of reaching these people, and every time he goes out to search, he comes back in the end sad and very disappointed. Despite all this, he is still determined in his position and believes that there are other tribes outside that no one knows anything about. He has to discover it. At night, Saba sits and talks to his sister, Miro, telling her that he's convinced by his father's words and certain that there's another world outside. He keeps thinking all night until he finally decides to leave and discover it all for himself without telling anyone in the tribe so that no one will try to stop him or stand in his way. A few hours after he leaves, he hears voices approaching him and quickly hides. He discovers that they are some of the infected, and if any of them see him, they will devour him alive and finish him off in seconds. He is shocked to learn that they are heading toward his tribe and is forced to return to help them and warn them quickly, but unfortunately, it's too late. The infected fill the entire area and surround the tribe from all sides. A great war breaks out between the two sides, and Saba tries to save the tribe by any means necessary. Yuri quickly orders everyone to go inside and hide in the cave and lock themselves in. He, Saba, and his friends stay outside and fight with all their might. Their strength is needed to stop these shapeshifters and drive them away from the area completely. His girlfriend, Worrell, stays with him, and when they talk privately, he tells her what he's thinking. He's certain that other tribes possess the cure, and they must go and find them themselves because they certainly can't live like this forever. The day will surely come when they need this medicine. Saba, his friend, and his girlfriend set off on their journey. He shows them a book he took from his father without his knowledge, telling them it will be of great help. He begins to explain their plan. His friend, Caleb, is shocked when he comes face to face with one of the shapeshifters. This is because he discovers it's his father, who transformed years ago. Overwhelmed by the shock, Caleb is unable to kill him and stands before him, unable to move or defend himself. Sensing his friend's danger, Saba is forced to defend him. He approaches the shapeshifter, preparing to kill him, and in the end a tree falls on him, and he dies without any intervention from either of them. At that moment, a man named Lewis appears before them. He was a very close friend of Abu Kalb and loved him. He tries to comfort Caleb and explains that he can help them. He knows they are searching for a cure for this disease and that he knows everything about it. The initial symptoms that appear in anyone infected and the stages they go through until they completely transform into zombies and begin eating human flesh. He gives them some advice on how to protect themselves from infection and finally offers them the chance to come with him. When Saba objects, Lewis tries to convince him logically, saying that without him they won't survive more than a few days on the road and will inevitably become infected and transform. After much discussion, they agree and begin following him without knowing where they are going. He explains that he knows the location of the cure, that it is yellow, and that very little of it remains. Of course, the three of them are surprised that he even wants to help them, since they'll only be a burden on him and might even endanger his life. They ask Lewis how he has been able to live alone all these years without any of the shapeshifters attacking his house. Lewis explains that they are afraid of water, which is why he lives somewhere beyond the river. Because of this, none of the shapeshifters can cross the river or even reach him. After a few hours, they finally arrive at Lewis's house. It's an old, abandoned building, as he has lived there for many years. He introduces them to his wife, Mina, and his son, Barsak. As soon as Mina sees them, she gets very upset and argues with Lewis for bringing strangers and showing them the house, thus putting all their lives in danger. It's quite possible the shapeshifters might attack them from another direction. Lewis speaks to her calmly aside and tries to convince her that they are in a big problem in the tribe. Their home was attacked, their lives were in danger, and they needed help. Mina finally agrees and takes them into her home. She prepares food for them and talks to them, explaining that the disease originated from horrific secret experiments conducted on animals. Suddenly, the scientists' actions escalated, leading to the emergence of a dangerous virus that no one could control. It spread among humans until it wiped them out, leaving only a very small number. Since then, the whole world has been devastated. Lewis tells them that they were part of those scientists, working together in the same lab, and of course they were against what was happening. When the disease appeared, Caleb's father was the only one who could discover and develop the antidote. Caleb is shocked to hear this and overjoyed that his father is such a great man who sacrificed himself to save more lives. Lewis explains that the antidote won't work on those who have been completely transformed, and unfortunately it won't be effective for them at all. He explains that it helps those who have not yet fully transformed. When the initial symptoms appear, the medicine can control and manage the disease. Of course, they all want to know where the cure is. When they ask Lewis about it, he explains that the yellow substance is in the city with a group of people who are keeping it. If they can reach these people, they will take the formula from them, and then they will save many lives from death before it's too late. While they are talking, the cave in which the tribe is imprisoned is surrounded from all sides. The shapeshifters are determined to enter by any means and refuse to leave until they eat everything inside the cave. They are all living through the worst moments of their lives, and deep down they know it's only a matter of time before they all shapeshift. The only thing they can do is block the entrances for as long as possible with all their might. Savannah's companion sees that they can't remain trapped like this and must find a way out of the cave before they die, so he tries to find another way out for them. When he speaks to the officials present, none of them agree with his idea. They believe this is their fate and that they must simply wait for death. They shouldn't resist any longer. Finally, he convinces Savannah's sister and another person to go with him. They actually go and look for an exit from the other direction. Miro insists on going into the water ahead, hoping it will lead her to the exit. She risks it first, but after a few minutes she quickly returns, screaming and in pain. This is because something is draining her blood underwater. At that point, the two with her realize this situation is hopeless and consider giving up like the others and turning back. But Miro refuses, telling them they must continue until the end and that she is not weak enough to simply wait for death. Meanwhile, the tribe is under attack, and the shapeshifters manage to kill several people from behind the door. The situation worsens, their blood supply dwindles, and most of them die. The tribe's leaders are exhausted, and no one has the strength to hold onto the doors any longer. They begin to break more and more until they collapse completely. The only remaining leader suddenly becomes exhausted and starts bleeding profusely. Finally, after a tremendous effort, Mira and the two with her reach an exit that leads them out of the cave. Overjoyed, they eagerly approach it to climb out. At that very moment, several shapeshifters appear and leap from above. The situation becomes horrific, and because of them, one of Myra's companions breaks his leg and is unable to move. He decides to sacrifice himself to save them, giving them a chance to escape. He scatters all the shapeshifters toward him, and immediately they begin chasing Mira and the others. Luckily for her, she jumps into the water, while they, of course, cannot because they are terrified of water. Mira seizes the opportunity and manages to save her life. Miraculously, when they return to the cave, they are shocked to find everyone injured and the situation much worse than before. At this time, Savannah, Calb, Worrell, and Lewis make a small boat to move across the water and begin their journey. They are shocked as soon as they set off because the invaders see them and try to stop them, pelting them with stones from all sides. In the end, they miraculously escape and are relieved to find themselves in the middle of the water, far away from the area. Lewis begins to tell them that when they discovered the cure, they were overjoyed and thought their lives would change completely. They thought they would no longer need to hide and would start rebuilding the world from scratch. Unfortunately, one of their friends, Gagan, tricked them all, stole the cure, and ran away with it. All the dreams they had built were shattered. Worrell is surprised and suggests that they go and talk to Gagan and convince him to give them the cure. They realize it's theirs and they need it, and of course Lewis knows it's not that simple. He tells them that Gagan is a bad person and would never agree to help them. He also tells them that Gagan managed to take over an entire island and made it his own so no one could approach or harm him. The island is heavily guarded, and no one can enter without Gagan's permission. After some thought, they head toward the island. Lewis parks the boat and tells them they are very close to Hassan Gagan. He starts devising a plan to get them out alive and asks each of them to stick to their assigned role without any confusion. While watching the road, he sees some shapeshifters approaching from a distance and tries to warn them quickly so they can hide. Unfortunately, because he's far away, no one hears him. By the time they see the situation, it's too late, and they find themselves surrounded from all sides. They don't know what to do, and Lewis tries his best to help them. He quickly climbs down from the top of the tower, using his bow and arrow. A huge problem arises, and he finds himself in a very difficult situation. To escape, he accidentally falls into a large pit, which seals him in. He finds himself trapped inside a cave. His last words to them are a plea to leave quickly. Of course, Caleb refuses to leave without him and insists on helping him. He and Savannah argue about this. Suddenly, Worrell starts bleeding from her nose, which means the symptoms are beginning to appear and her life is in danger. Caleb understands that they must move as quickly as possible and save her life. They rush toward the first fort. By chance, some people see the fire in the tower, and when they get closer they discover the bodies lying on the ground. They rescue Lewis from the pit. He fell into their trap, and when they questioned him, he explained that he had reached Caleb, and it was clear they had been looking for him because he had the book with him containing the formula for the yellow powder that could save all their lives. He reassured them that he was in the area and that their lives would change forever. At that moment, Caleb and his companions arrive in the city and begin to walk around. Every time they ask someone about Gagan, the person gets scared and leaves them. After much effort and searching, they finally find him and go to talk to him. Caleb begins by introducing himself, saying that he is the son of the scientist who invented the cure and that his father taught him to read and write before he died. He says that if Gagan gives him the yellow powder, he can recreate the formula everyone is looking for and save all the lives. He offers to make a large quantity of the powder, which would benefit everyone. Gagan treats them very badly and tells Caleb that he won't help him in any way. He tells him that if he wants to go and look for the yellow powder alone, it won't help them at all, so Caleb is forced to search the library. That's when he sees Rose, Gagan's daughter, and she is shocked to learn what her father did long ago. She is very upset, and when she talks to him, he justifies it by saying he did it to protect his family from death. Rose understands that her father and his men are bad people. As soon as he leaves, she talks to Savannah, who agrees to help them. They both agree to meet somewhere, and she gives him the talisman, especially after she learns that their tribe is in danger and will die if they don't get it. Caleb does everything he can, turning the entire library upside down to find any useful information. Meanwhile, their tribe is collapsing completely, and they are dying one after another. Mira is very sad for them and tries to help them as much as she can, easing their pain a little. Rose goes in to talk to her father and plays a small trick on him, and he falls into the trap. She manages to discover the location of the poison he is hiding. Savannah sees it and is overjoyed. Before he can reach the poison, his condition worsens and he becomes ill as the symptoms begin to appear as well. Rose, frightened, approaches him and gives him some of the poison, saving his life at the last moment. She quickly gives the poison to Worrell, whose condition was very serious, and stays with them until they recover. Caleb continues with his plan, trying to obtain the yellow substance by any means necessary. Once they reach the required quantity, they try to find a way to escape and reach their tribe quickly with the medicine. They kill any guard who stands in their way and are forced to cross between two mountains, building a small bridge to cross over. Unfortunately, the guards find them and begin shooting arrows at them from all directions. Caleb is eventually wounded and falls, and Worrell is very upset. She has no other option but to escape with Savin before they too are captured. After they cross the bridge, they find Lewis waiting for them. He saves their lives at the last moment and escapes with them far away. Finally, they reach their tribe. At the same time, Mira is also injured, and in her pain she begs them to kill her. A large number of injured people gather around the cave, and as soon as Lewis gets them there, a huge battle ensues. They wipe out all the zombies present, and Lewis stands alone against the rest. He asks Savannah to take a monitor lizard and quickly go inside to save the rest of the tribe and give them medicine. Suddenly, Caleb appears, still alive, and helps them, fighting alongside them. A few minutes later, Gagan comes after him and tries to kill him by any means necessary. At the last moment, Lewis sacrifices his life and takes the blow for him. This is because he is the only young man who can read and write, and he will surely teach all future generations since he is still young. Life is long ahead of him, and his life is very important to all of them. After Gagan dies, they manage to save the rest of the tribe. After a few months, Their health improves significantly, and Lewis recovers and returns to living peacefully once more. He begins teaching the young children to read and write, and they decide to start a new life together, hoping that everything will return to how it was before. And that's where our story ends today. Stay tuned for more videos and summaries.